Hey everybody, this is Alex Merced from AlexMercedCoder.dev. In this next video, in this Python 101 course, what I want to do is talk about some higher order functions. We talked about what functions were in the previous video. Higher order functions are functions that kind of act as wrappers around logic. Really, we don't need to kind of explore the specific definition of the concept, but I want to show you a couple of examples of higher order functions that are built into Python, particularly map and filter, okay, because these are two functions that you're going to want to use a lot. They're pretty darn useful. And we'll eventually then also introduce the lambdas in this video as well. Okay, so we'll call it map filter.py will be the file for this. Okay, first we're going to create a list. Okay, so a list. And the list is going to be, we'll call it my list. And it's just going to equal a couple of dictionaries that are supposed to represent people. So we'll have a name. In this case, it's Alex Merced. And they'll have an age. My current age is 37. Okay. And we'll do an additional person. Okay. We will do my brother, who is 35. And that is Tony Merced. Okay, cool. So there is my list. So sometimes you're going to want to modify a list, okay, in the sense that, like, let's say I want to take each of these. Actually, let's do this a little bit. Let me change this. Make one quick change to this. Let's make this first name. And then we'll also do last name, because I think that'll be a better example. Last name, Merced. And then I'll just kind of copy that over. There we go. Okay. So for example, what if I want to actually make this where it says, like, I want to combine their first name and last name and make a new dictionary with that change? I don't want to have to, I could, just do it step by step. So basically, the long way, what I would do is I'd create a new list. So we'll call this new list, which is just going to equal an empty list. And then what I'd have to do is then loop over my existing list. So I would say for person in my list. And then I would, make my change to each one. So then I would be like, okay, what I want to do is in new list, for each person in there, what I'm going to do is I want to push a new dictionary, and that new dictionary is going to have a property called name. That is going to equal not JavaScript, person dot first name plus person last name. Okay, and then it's also going to have an age property, which is just going to equal the same age property. So person age. Okay, let me just save that. Let's just clean that up a little bit. Okay. So it's easier to read. Okay. And this could probably be there. There we go. Okay, so I'm essentially just pushing a new dictionary into the array. But see, this one is going to have the name and age property. So I'm looping over each item, creating a new dictionary that matches the new structure that I want, and pushing into this new array. And then at the end, if I print new list, I should have the updated list. Okay, so let's run that. So Python map filter.py. Okay. Oh yeah, that's right. It's append in Python. Okay. And there we go. So you see I have this new list. And see, that looks a little bit better. I should have put a space in there though. So let's fix that. There we go. Let me try that again. And there we go. So we get the result that we wanted. Okay, I took this array, which had first name and last name separated. But yeah, see, that was like a lot of code. Okay, so you'll see like how it took me like all of that to do that. I could do it quicker. Okay, so what I could do is I can define a function. So we'll say this. So this here will be the kind of shorter way. So I'm going to define the function of the logic that I want in my loop. So we'll create like def, you know, push thing. Okay, or we'll call it rebuild array, a rebuild item. And what this rebuild item does, it's going to take in basically a person, one of those items from the dictionary, from our list. And what it's going to do is just going to return this. Okay. Okay, so essentially this function will always take a person and then give us back the fixed version of the person. And then with this function, what I can then do is use this map function. So say const new list equals map. Okay, which map is going to first take the function. Yeah, so see, it takes the function and then the iterables. Iterables are just like a list, a set, any of these kind of collections. Okay, so I want to say, hey, I want you to rebuild item for each thing that is inside of my list. Okay, and let's get rid of this const. That's JavaScript. JavaScript habits die hard. Okay, let's print new list. Okay, and let's see what we get. Now you'll notice something kind of funny here. See, I end up getting this map object. Okay, so basically functions like map and filter, they don't give you another list or another set or another tuple. What they're going to do is they're going to give you this iterable that has the data, so it has the results that I want, but I have to convert it into whatever I want. So if I want to convert it to a tuple, so for example, if I want to turn it into a tuple, I would just literally use the tuple constructor like that, and then when I print it, see, now I have a tuple. Okay, but if I want it to be a list, then I will use list. Okay, and see there I end up with the same place, but this is a little bit less code than before. But you can see like writing all this function just to put it here, when I'm only going to use this function once, seems like a little excessive. Okay, so this is where something called a lambda comes into play. Okay, so essentially the way it would work, so the shortest way, so we're going to do the same thing but in the shortest way. The shortest way is that instead of defining the function first, I would just create the new list equals, and again I'm trying to create a new list that's the result of a map. The map needs to take a function, and that's where I pass a lambda. So I say lambda, okay, space, and then we're going to just say x. X is going to represent the same thing as like person did up here. Okay, or I could literally just type in person, and then it's going to be colon, and then I'm going to put in what it's returning, which is going to be this right here. Okay, so basically I'm saying I'm returning a function that takes in a person and that takes a person as an argument and returns this dictionary. Okay, you know, if I wanted to break this up a little bit just so that way it looks a little bit easier to read, I could do that. But literally now I'm doing this all in one line because a lambda allows me to define a function in line. That's all lambda is. It's a function that I can write in a more condensed syntax. The only catch is that you can't write really more than one line. It's basically these are your parameters and this is the return value, and then that's it. Okay. But now if I were to print the new list, I should get the same results again. Nope, map must have at least two arguments. Oops, forgot the second argument, which is the list, my list. There we go. So basically I'm saying use this lambda function on each item in my list, return me the result of that. Okay, map has oh, I must have put it in the wrong place. Map. Oh yeah, I didn't put it in the map. I put it inside the list. So let me just Control X. That should go here. There we go. And there you go. See, I get the same result again. Okay. So again, it's just like I could do this the long way, but the beauty of having these kind of things like map built in is they let you do simple things like this, where I'm just going in there and changing every item in an array, and depending on what the change is, I can really shorten the amount of typing I have to do by going this route. Okay, using the lambda to define the function, so that I don't have to define the function separately, and then using a map, so that way the map handles all the looping. I don't have to write the looping logic. I just have to write what I want done to each thing. So I just have to write a function that just defines how one thing is treated, and then it'll apply that logic to each thing. Okay, so that's what map does. Okay, and now you see what the syntax for lambda is. So again, so just to kind of recap, lambda, it's basically you type in the word lambda. Okay, and then it's going to be, parameters, return value. Okay, so given parameters, return this. Okay, so for example, one that returns like two numbers added together would be like lambda xy returns x plus y. So given x and y, return x plus y. Okay, that's literally all that is saying. Okay, you can see like that's much less typing than typing in like def add nums colon and go on to the next line tab return x plus y. This is a much more sort of nice condensed syntax. Okay. Now for filter. Filter kind of does the same thing. The only difference is that filter isn't for changing each item in the array. It's for filtering items you don't want in an array. So for example, let's say I only want people older than 35 in my array. Okay. Then we'll just say like new list equals, again, we want to turn this into a list. It's going to be the result of a map. And we're going to say the map's going to take a function, so lambda. And then for each person, what I want to return is whether the person's age is greater than 35. Okay? Because essentially, oh no, I don't want to do a map. I want to do filter. Filter. Because essentially what you want to do in the world of a filter is you want to return true or false. Because the idea is it's going to go through each item in the array, and if the function you give it returns true, the thing sticks around in the new array. And if it returns false, it will be filtered out of the array. So then what you're going to do is you're going to get back a filtered iterable. Okay, so again, we're going to do this in my original my list. Okay, so now if I do this, print my list. Okay, you see in this last one, did I write greater than page? Person, age, 35. Oh, because I printed my list. My bad. I want to print new list. And you see, Tony is not in that last one. Why? Because I filtered him out because his age is not greater than 35. Okay, so the function basically gets applied to each item, and in the case where the function returns false, that thing doesn't make it into the resulting array. Okay, and that's a lot easier than doing it the long way where you'd have to write a loop, and then you'd have to do like a true false for each one and say, okay, hey, if the thing's in there, push it into this new array. Like here I can do this all in like one line. Okay, and that makes my life a lot easier. Okay, so that's the benefit. So once you start really like getting comfortable with like functions and lambdas and using these higher order functions like map and filter, you can start really doing a lot of really powerful things with large sets of data really quickly. And this is where like you really start getting to do like really powerful things with very little code. So my name is Alex Merced from AlexMercedCoder.dev. Have a great day and enjoy.